Oh, beautiful, far spacious skies, far amber waves of grain, far purple mountain majesties. Above the fruited plain. But now wait a minute. I'm talking about America, sweet America. You know, God done shed his grace on thee. He crowned thy good. Yes, he did. Any brotherhood from sea to shining sea. You know, I wish I had somebody to help me sing this. America, I love you, America. You see, my God, he done shed his face on thee. You ought to love him for it, 'cause
There has been strict control of the comings and goings of Africans in New York City since colonial days, when professional slave catchers roamed the streets looking for fugitive slaves to return to their owners. African Americans could not come and go from their master's property without a certificate or a pass. If you were brown or black of skin, it was assumed that you might be stopped, searched, and that there would be a financial reward for your capture. If you had no proof of who you were or where you were from in your possession, there was a good chance of being imprisoned and enslaved despite the U.S. laws. Soon after the enslaved were freed in 1865, new ways to keep blacks from advancing, called Jim Crow laws, were instituted to keep African Americans in their place. Literally, many towns passed rules as to where and when African peoples could move around or congregate, or when they had to clear town streets. Additionally, the Ku Klux Klan, a white supremacist group, operated not only in the South but in the North as well, to terrorize African Americans who may have been traveling in the wrong neighborhoods or stopped, harassed, and killed simply because they were black. Young black men have always allegedly scared the local police into violating their rights under the U.S. Constitution. In more recent times, these practices of racial profiling, harassment, and detention have evolved and been refined under the veneer of so-called police enforcement. Stop and frisk is a policy advocated by the mayor and his police department in the city of New York, principally as a way to, quote, reduce gun violence, unquote, but which also flagrantly violates the rights of African American and Hispanic American male citizens as well as all citizens. In 2011, the NYPD documented nearly 700,000 stop and frisks, with less than 10% leading to arrest and only 1% leading to firearms arrests, the ostensible objective of the entire program. The arrests that were made as part of stop and frisk were mostly illegal, including unconstitutional searches and even evidence planting. Stop and frisk decisions are now working their way up to the Supreme Court after several lower courts have found them violative of citizens' rights. Those caught up in the system can only be defined as victims, not criminals, victims of improper arrest by the NYPD. Stop and frisk is conducted almost exclusively in poorer communities of color, resulting in the criminalization of young people of color, particularly males, and increasing fear and suspicion among all people about the police force. It is inaccurate to suggest that if a person is doing nothing wrong, that they have nothing to fear from being stopped and searched by the police for no reason. In addition to the psychological scars and pervasive element of fear generated by the practice, protesting stop and frisk by asserting one's constitutional right to live free of police harassment often results in arrest. These arrests are illegal and probably racist, and increasingly even the young males involved are suing the NYPD. As many as 70,000 individuals were swept up into the stop and frisk policy and incarcerated last year in New York City, where they joined more than 7 million people under some form of movement control in the nation. The formerly incarcerated lose their rights to education, school loans, employment opportunities, voting, and other public assistance. In short, they are wrongfully targeted, arrested, and their futures arbitrarily determined by the initial stop and frisk. As you view this video, ask, when is the citizen under arrest? When he loses freedom of movement or at some other time? And you should also ask, what is this citizen's crime under the law? Stop and frisk must be stopped.
Spacious skies, far amber waves of grain, far purple mountain majesties, over the fruited plain. But now wait a minute, I'm talking about America, sweet America. You know, God done shed his grace on thee. He crowned thy good. Yes, he did.